Sliding no bend, now I'm feeling like Venom. I told her kick it, back him, squeezing a Mac, lemons, walk down, boy.
Mr. Dark-Skin said is my neighbor. Hey man, we got some chillin' scares video today, man. This one is called YouTube Channels Abandoned for Disturbing Reason. We ain't gonna waste no time, man. Grab your popcorn, grab your snacky. Let's get into it.
Elliot Eastman was a 26-year-old man from Vermont, USA. He spent most of his early years in the tiny town of Heinsberg. Life there was calm and peaceful, but with a population of less than 600 residents, it was also quite boring. Elliot wanted to do something more with his life. So, with his love for nature and exploration in mind, he saved up some money and traveled to the Philippines near the end of 2023. He wanted to slowly make his way through the entire country and witness its beauty firsthand. But just a couple months into his trip, he met a local woman named Carisha Jayla. The two started dating and got married just a few months after that, in July of 2023. Then, in January 2024, Elliot started posting videos on YouTube, documenting his life in the Philippines with his wife. His videos were simple, without any over-the-top music or crazy editing effects, but they felt authentic and real, allowing him to amass a small but dedicated fan base.
That boy went to the Philippines, got married.
A massive shift in May 2024 when he decided to move to the beachside village his wife was from in the Cebuco municipality. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before this spiraled into the worst decision he'd ever make. You see, Cebuco is part of what's known as the Red Zone in the Philippines. Put simply, this is the most dangerous section of the country, especially for foreigners. Armed robberies, kidnappings, and even murders are not uncommon in this region, with over 40 Westerners going missing there in just the last decade. However, Elliot was well aware of this fact, as evident from his channel's description, which read, "I'm Elliot Eastman. I am 26 years old and I came to the Philippines about a year and a half ago, where I met the love of my life deep in the mountains of the Red Zone of the Philippines. I will be showing you my day-to-day life as the first and only foreigner to have ever lived here in Cebuco for a long period of time." He mentioned the danger in some of his videos.
He made it public.
But despite the threat to his life, he still wanted to build a life in Cebuco. So he rented an apartment and even built his own grocery shop near the beach, all while documenting the entirety of his journey on YouTube. Now, there were times when he felt threatened and had to hide from some locals to avoid getting in serious trouble. But despite the somewhat dire circumstances, Elliot was enjoying his time in Cebuco and slowly building the life he wanted. However, just when things were starting to look up for Elliot, tragedy struck. The incident took place on the night of October 17th, 2024, when after doing
on my birthday, nigga?
Oh, October 17th? Damn.
2024.
It's crazy. On your best day, somebody's worst day, man.
That's crazy, bro.
Cold
That's
world
how
we live
life
in.
work, bro.
Place on the night of October 17th, 2024, when after doing several short live streams throughout the day, Elliot went offline and set for dinner with his wife and her parents. But then, a few minutes later, 4 men with guns barged into their home and started telling Elliot to go outside. These men were also wearing outfits similar to those of the Filipino police, likely in hopes of making Elliot more cooperative. Elliot, however, saw through the disguise and tried to run away. Unfortunately, that's when things went from bad to worse.
Damn.
One of them opened fire and ended up shooting Elliot twice, once in the leg and once in the abdomen. They then dragged him onto the speedboat they had docked near their home and sped off into the darkness. This was the last time anyone saw Elliot alive. By the time the police launched a search and rescue mission, the kidnapper's boat was nowhere to be found. The investigation then went on for nearly a month until the 12th of November. But when the police eventually located the kidnappers, they were forced into a shootout, resulting in 3 of the 4 culprits losing their lives. And while they did manage to arrest the last kidnapper, it was already too late. According to the kidnapper, Elliot succumbed to his injuries when he was on the speedboat. So the kidnappers simply threw his body overboard to hide the primary evidence of their crime.
That's crazy.
Unfortunately, the police were unable to locate his remains and pronounced him officially dead in December of 2024. However, one question still remained unanswered. Why? Why did these 4 criminals target Elliot? Well, the simplest explanation is also the most likely one. They just wanted to kidnap him for ransom. Carisha even had a first-hand experience with this, as back in high school, one of her Canadian classmates was kidnapped and held for a ransom of $50,000 US. That said, there's also a second potential explanation that has to do with Elliot's side business. You see, while operating his grocery store, Elliot also started lending the locals money for 20% interest. A local loan shark likely saw him as a competitor and sought to eliminate Elliot before he took away any more of his business.
Damn.
This would also explain why the intruders were so quick to open fire if they wanted to hold him for ransom. Regardless of their motive, the end result was the loss of a young man trying to make a life for himself with his wife in a foreign land. His YouTube channel now sits abandoned, with its many uploads
That's
remaining as
fucked up,
proof
man.
as the life he once lived.
Them niggas just trying to live his life, dog.
Benjamin Pardoon, known online as
Hey,
Warren
man,
the
don't go
Groomer
somewhere you
Meister,
ain't
was a
welcome,
comedian
but I
creator
ain't
on
gonna lie
YouTube
to
who
you.
primarily focused on creating a genre of memes known as YouTube poops, which is a subgenre of online humor that revolves around taking clips from other shows, usually cartoons, and editing them to have a bizarre, often nonsensical tone. Over time, Benjamin's channel had amassed over 8.7 million views, making him a well-known name in the YTP community. But after his upload on December 21st, 2021, he suddenly vanished from the internet, leaving his fans wondering what could have happened. Unfortunately, the reason for his disappearance was far more tragic than simply getting bored and moving on from the channel, as most of his audience had assumed. The incident took place on the 27th of January 2022, when his older brother Chris tried to contact him many times but didn't hear back. Left with no other option, Chris called the police at around 8 p.m. to check on his parents and little brother. When the officers arrived at his house, the lights were on, but no one was answering the door. After repeated knocks, the officers knew something was off, so they decided to break in. But nothing could have prepared them for the horrific scene they saw behind that door.
Damn.
Inside, they found the bodies of Benjamin and his parents, all with visible gunshot wounds.
Oh my goodness.
However, what looked like a robbery gone wrong turned out to be far more tragic. According to the investigation, both Benjamin and his mother Deborah were shot by his father that evening, who, after committing the crime, decided to end things for himself as well. The news of this incident was a massive shock for Benjamin's viewers, as he'd never mentioned any family troubles before. Chris later set up a GoFundMe page in November of 2022, which not only allowed Benjamin's fans to support the only living member of his family, it also gave some insight into what might have happened. According to Chris, Benjamin was born in 2005 and was soon diagnosed with autism. This made it difficult for him to interact with people in person. Because of this, he was homeschooled, and at just 8 years old, he started uploading on YouTube, hoping to make friends and find a sense of community. Sadly, Benjamin's condition was far from the only challenge their family had to face. Deborah was also suffering from nerve damage after an accident, and the father Gregory had also gotten in a car accident in the past and could barely walk. On top of that, the family was also struggling with severe financial issues, which could explain why Gregory felt the need to take such a drastic measure, seemingly out of nowhere. As Chris puts it, "My dad was a proud man. He was ashamed to ask or seek out help." Although Benjamin's content was somewhat niche, it left a big impact on those who came across it, with some even uploading new videos in his style to keep his memory alive.
Oh, that's nice. Damn. That's fucked,
Harley
bro.
Dilly was a YouTube channel run by a 14-year-old teenager from Ohio with the same name. He created the channel in 2013 to share his love of gaming, specifically the sports game Madden, with others. He also uploaded vlogs on YouTube, where he talked about anything that was on his mind that day. But for Harley himself, these were more than just videos. They were one of the many forms of escape he had from his troubled life. You see, Harley suffered from oppositional defiant disorder and was also diagnosed with high-functioning autism.
What
This
is
resulted
that?
in him
Yeah,
getting
what
into
the fuck
heated
is that?
arguments with his parents quite often.
Oh, is that where the
subsequently
kids don't
ending the
listen?
situation. In one instance, he even
that what
posted a
that is?
video talking about how he was locked out of the house after an argument
Like
with
very
his mother,
rebellious?
titled "I'm Scared."
Hey guys, what's up? It is Harley Dilly. Probably one of my worst days of my life. I was at school and I was science test. I finished it and my computer says 1% battery left. So when I get to the next class and I put it on charger as quick as possible, but it didn't charge. None of the computers would take a charge. So I took it back and I had to fill out a complaint, and that's one of the most expensive parts of the computer. And my mom said she's not paying anything. We argued for about a good 5 minutes, and she snapped. She said she was gonna call the police, and she said she already did. And she locked me out of the house. So right now I'm outside. Yep, the house is locked. It is 3:30. I haven't ate anything, and I still haven't even got to get my work done. My mom's gone. She won't answer the phone.
There were also allegations of some of his family members
damn.
being physically aggressive to him. But despite all this, Harley was still a cheerful kid who wanted nothing more than to play Madden and grow his YouTube channel. Unfortunately, this ambition was tragically cut short on December 20th, 2019, when Harley went to school and never came back. The day had started off rough. Harley was still upset after arguing with his parents the night before, as they had refused to replace his broken smartphone. He also didn't want to go to school that day. But his mother Heather woke up early that day and, after some more arguing, convinced him to go. He left his house just before 7 a.m. But he was somehow absent from school and didn't return home that evening either. Harley had disappeared without a trace. Surprisingly, his family didn't report him missing until 11:50 p.m. on December 21st, nearly 43 hours after he vanished.
What
Their
the
explanation for
fuck?
the delay was simple. According to them, Harley had spent the night at friends' houses without telling them before, usually after an argument. They assumed this time was the same. However, they couldn't have been more wrong. Something that became increasingly clear as the police investigation dragged on for days without uncovering a single clue about his whereabouts. The only thing they found was this low-resolution picture of Harley going to school that was taken from a neighbor's security camera. And that was it. Eventually, many other organizations, including the FBI, joined the search as well. They also distributed his missing posters nationwide and offered an $18,000 reward, hoping to receive any information that could lead them in the right direction. Unfortunately, although they received numerous tips, none led to any significant progress in the case. That is until the 13th of January, over 23 days after Harley went missing, when the investigators made the big discovery. They were re-canvassing the area immediately surrounding Harley's home, when one of the investigators decided to check out the vacant house directly across from the Dilly residence. This was a summer home and was fully locked at the time. There was also no indications of anyone breaking into the home. However, the investigators had looked everywhere else to no avail. This was one of their last options. So they acquired the key to this home and started looking around. They didn't find anything on the ground floor, but as soon as they climbed the stairs, one of them noticed a maroon puffer jacket lying on the ground, the same jacket that Harley was wearing on the morning of his disappearance. As they got closer, they also noticed his glasses lying on the floor as well, but there were no signs of Harley anywhere. Both the glasses and the jacket had also collected plenty of dirt, indicating that they must have been there for a long time. While they were looking around, one of the investigators noticed the chimney vent above where his glasses and jacket were discovered. This sort of vent is used to connect traditional wood-burning heaters. Curious to see what was in it, he reached into the hole, only for his hand to touch human hair on the other side.
Oh my
There was
goodness.
no doubt about it. That was Harley, stuck in the chimney. Officers quickly dismantled the wall, and sure enough, they found Harley's body inside, with his arms raised above his head. A later autopsy concluded that he likely passed away the day he went missing. His particular position at the time of discovery also helped investigators piece
Jesus
together what might
Christ.
have happened that day. As the story goes, Harley didn't want to go to school that day, so he decided to spend the time at the vacant home until the afternoon to make it seem like he went to school. But when he couldn't find a way in from the ground floor, he climbed onto the roof using the antenna tower beside the house.
No.
From there, he looked into the chimney and saw a relatively short drop and chose to climb down it to enter the house. However, what he failed to realize was that this chimney didn't lead down it, in from the home until the afternoon to make school that day. So it might have happened that day. As the story goes, Harley didn't want to go to school that day, so he decided to spend the time at the vacant home until the afternoon to make it seem like he went to school. But when he couldn't find a way in from the ground floor, he climbed onto the roof using the antenna tower beside the house.
But this is what's wrong with this story, though. How was the clothes, like how was his jacket and glasses inside the house if he couldn't find a way in?
That is true.
That is true.
That is true. That don't make no sense. You good catch.
Yeah, that's true.
Or maybe they still talking about the story too. Maybe it's probably gonna be a flip story, but if this is the story, then
Because
that is
I'm-
a good catch because that don't make no sense. at
Or
this
maybe
point.
he tried to get out. No.
They say he couldn't find a way in, so he climbed to the top of the roof and tried to go down the chimney.
Yeah.
But then when they went into the house and they went upstairs, they seen his jacket on the floor and his glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that don't make
Is there
sense.
like
Something
an
is
open
not
window
something
somewhere
is
that
not
he goes
making
in?
sense.
Let's see.
When he couldn't find a way in from the ground floor, he climbed onto the roof using the antenna tower beside the house. From there, he looked into the chimney and saw a relatively short drop and chose to climb down it to enter the house. However, what he failed to realize was that this chimney did lead to a spacious fireplace. Instead, it only connected to a couple of small vents for heater exhausts, leaving him stuck at the bottom. Due to the way he climbed down, his jacket was likely halfway removed already. So he pushed it through the vent to free up some space, and his glasses fell through as well. Sadly, there was nothing else he could do in that position. His chest was pressed tightly against the chimney's wall, making it impossible to breathe, resulting in him slowly succumbing to asphyxiation. Put simply, this was nothing more than a tragic accident. Now, given this conclusion, Harley's case should have ended there. However, some people, especially
in front of the vent is where, like, around where the vent is where they find like the jacket and the glasses.
Yeah, but how can that jacket? I don't know if that was the real picture. How can that jacket fit through that fucking hole? That chimney hole.
Yeah, like the jacket's not going through there.
I mean, it still don't make no sense though.
Maybe the glasses, yeah, but that damn jacket ain't going through there.
Cause it's like he can't even really like adjust himself if he even want to take his jacket off. So
Yeah,
like how was he able to take his jacket off the chimney?
Well, his hands were like this, and the jacket was probably
coming off,
down. But how the fuck is he able to? Oh, okay, let me just squeeze
it in there. Yeah.
Like how the fuck is he able to do that?
That don't make no sense.
I'm tripping, bro. I don't know. That's weird.
If we're tripping, child, let's know. Like, what y'all think, man? What's y'all opinion? Because it's kind of.
Because he even died
his
in that
YouTube
position.
viewers weren't satisfied with the official report. Many of them believe as now, given this conclusion, Harley's case should have ended there. However, some people, especially his YouTube viewers, weren't satisfied with the official report. Many of them believe that this wasn't an accident at all. Rumors started going around the internet that Harley's death was actually a murder committed by his own family. One of the first big points of contention was his jacket. Since in one of the evidence images, it could be seen hanging from the door.
Yeah, like nigga,
These
come on,
critics
bro.
claim that this was proof of the whole story being a lie. Some also argued that the shoes he was wearing in his last picture didn't match the ones the investigators found on him. However, despite the skepticism, the police stuck with their initial report. As for the jacket issue, that turned out to be nothing more than the result of one of the inexperienced investigators mistakenly moving key evidence. That said, whatever the truth may be, it doesn't change the fact that the YouTube community lost a genuine and passionate creator.
Nigga moved evidence, bro.
But why would you do that?
Nicholas Sonderegger
Like, you're
was a
literally a cop.
20-year-old
You know not to
YouTuber
do.
who loves two
clock,
things in
Devontae.
life,
You
longboarding
clock
and
that shit,
dancing.
bro.
You know what I mean?
That
He
shit ain't
uploaded
make no
nearly
fucking
80
sense.
videos of himself doing both of these on his channel.
I mean, the thing too. I mean, yeah, I guess he could have moved it because they wasn't even going in there to look for him. They were just going in an abandoned house to.
Yeah, but it's just like, still, how did that jacket wind up right there? Like, even if they did move it and wherever the jacket was, like, how? Hold on, no. It doesn't even matter. No, because when they were searching for him, they searched everywhere but that house. So when they went in that house, they should know whatever they find that could potentially be his, they know not to touch that shit. Yeah. Regardless of the situation.
They're supposed to leave it there.
They're supposed to leave it there like, nigga, they're literally searchers. Like, they're, no matter what they come across, they're not going to touch that if they have a suspicion that it could be that boy's. Yeah. They already got a photo of the boy. Yeah. Right? So it's like, why would they touch it? Yeah. Right? Yeah. They wouldn't make sense to professionals. Like, they're trained not to touch shit like that if they find anything that could potentially be evidence.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
And dancing. He uploaded nearly 80 videos of him things. Nicholas Sonderegger was a 28-year-old YouTuber who loves two things in life, longboarding and dancing. He uploaded nearly 80 videos of himself doing both of these on his channel.
Nobody longboards no more, bro.
I'm saying.
No, his ultimate dream
maybe near
was
the
to become a
beach,
professional
Cali.
dancer. By 2017, he was living in San Diego with his friend Austin to try and make his dream come true. However, the two were completely broke and couldn't afford California's high rent prices. So, with no other option, the two decided to live in tents or random trailers they could find in the Salton Sea area. Salton Sea used to be a popular tourist destination at one point due to its status as an oasis in the middle of the desert. But the water and the surrounding area became extremely toxic over time, turning it into a complete ghost town. On the flip side, this also made living there essentially free, which is what Nick and Austin were after. But what neither of them knew at the time was that the true danger of Salton Sea had nothing to do with its toxic climate. This danger came face to face with the two on the night of September 9th, 2018 at around 2 a.m. They were asleep in their tent when suddenly they were jolted awake by an extremely loud scream coming from the tree line not far from their camp. Fearing for their safety, they decided to just
I'm
ignore it
free,
altogether
man.
and go back to sleep. Or that's at least what Austin thought. For some unknown reason, Nick later decided to go investigate the scream on his own after Austin had fallen back asleep. By the time Austin woke up the next morning, Nick was gone. He tried looking around for his longtime friend around town and discovered his flashlight lying on the ground, just a block away from their tent. He immediately contacted the police and reported Nick as missing, who began looking for him almost immediately. But all they found was one of his boots, his pants, and his knife sleeve. His other boot, as well as his wallet and keys, were missing. More importantly, Nick himself was nowhere to be found. What made the situation even more bizarre was what happened days later. Austin returned to the same area he had already searched, but this time he found Nick's shirt and hat lying there, items that weren't there before. In other words, someone had likely placed them in that spot later. Wow. Sadly, the identity of this person was never uncovered, leaving Nick's case a complete mystery to this day.
Does he have a kid?
Nick's family has set up a website with all the information they have. They've also announced a $10,000 reward for any useful information. But despite these efforts, the case has remained cold. In fact, there are so few clues that I wasn't even able to find any solid theories either. Some have speculated that Austin might have killed Nick and hidden his body. However, the police investigation uncovered no evidence of foul play. There's still a chance that some unexpected discovery would crack this case wide open.
Damn.
But until then, Nick's disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, and his YouTube channel remains abandoned.
That is terrible.
Damn.
Not a single damn clue.
They heard noises and all kinds of shit. The cops didn't find some shit.
It was so clean. Then in fact, he couldn't even form a theory around it.
Damn. Nigga came back and placed a shirt in that damn house.
Like, who would have done that?
I don't know. And why would they have done that? I don't know.
That's crazy.
Well, that would be it. Yeah, for YouTube abandoned channels.
No, that kid in the chimney joint was
Yeah,
was definitely about
there's something wrong with
that kid was
story, bro.
that kid. I think that kid was murdered, bro.
Yeah,
he got to have been.
It's definitely something. And I found it weird that the parents called the cop or found that he's missing 48 hours later.
Yeah, 48 hours later. Why?
Because they think he's at his friend's house or whatever. They didn't even try to call him.
Well,
or something.
they even tried to call his friend's mom.
Yeah.
You wait 2 days later. Probably
days
almost
is crazy.
3. Like 48 is like that day, the next day, and almost the following day, you know, to the half.
I don't know,
It's
man.
like
48. No.
48 hours.
48 hours is enough time to try to hide a.
Have some evidence, see.
And
And the house was right across too, nigga.
And the kid didn't show up to school.
Yeah.
The school would have been told them. Hold the fuck on.
Yeah, they called.
So that story already don't even make sense either, because nigga, the school would have told them the morning of, like, I think they said that.
Yeah, attendance.
Like they would have told them twice, because it's 48 hours. They would have told them twice, unless it was on Friday when this happened.
Yeah.
They would have told them that morning, like, okay, he didn't come to school. So.
Yeah, but they saw security footage of him walking.
Yeah, but that was when he left the house at 7 o'clock, before 7 o'clock, because he left out before 7 o'clock. He never showed up to school, but he had a backpack on. So how can you think that he went to his friend's house if his friend was at school?
And did they even ever find his backpack? They just found the jacket and the glasses.
Yeah, it's like, how can you think that he went to his friends if his friend was most likely at school too? And you don't think his parents would have called you if you have your child going to somebody's house? Wouldn't you at least know some type of history about that parent to where it's like they all got each other's number in case some shit like that was to happen?
And nobody saw the kid climbing up a fucking chimney. Trying to fucking.
And I'm pretty sure, people saw that. Like, they would have reported that.
Yeah, I feel like people would have saw that or something. But at the same time, too, it's like, if they try to throw him in there, people would have saw him, too, if it was murdered. I don't know. Unless it happened at nighttime.
And they just said they saw
Most
him.
likely it happened at nighttime.
They said they saw him in a CCTV camera close by their house.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So that means that CCTV could have probably seen The chimney, that shit is
Nah,
across
if
the house.
if there was a camera on that chimney, that would have been like, that would have been the one all be all. Because at that point, we would have known exactly what happened to him.
Yeah.
If there was an actual camera facing that chimney.
Yeah. I'm facing that damn house.
That's crazy.
I just find it weird that you waited 43 hours to say something.
Yeah.
Why, like, damn near 2 whole days
And
to
at the
record
same
it?
time, like you could tell they're like,
Keep in mind, this is 43 hours after he left.
yeah,
So this is like 2 mornings damn near later.
yeah, because they filed at 11:59 midnight.
Yeah,
That's
so
when
it's
the
like,
nigga, what?
You don't care about your kid or some shit?
I
Some
mean, they
men, right.
kind of show that he don't give a fuck. Nigga, they be locking that nigga out and just be going on with their day.
Yeah, so it's like, that is true.
I don't know.
Anyway, let us know y'all thoughts down below, man.
Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in.
Yes, sir.
We out.
Peace.